Ladies and gentlemen, with the impeding threat of the Parks Department, we are going to get things underway because there's no better time than the present. I hope everybody is leashing their dogs, their small children, or their loved ones. We should be curbing smoking. There shouldn't be anybody drinking. I haven't seen anybody smoking or drinking, but I'm blind as a bat.
I've been smoking and drinking since like 2 in the morning.
Not helping, Zoe. I once again want to thank all of you for coming here today. Thank you so much for your support, for your love, for your acceptance of all of these people around you in their mourning for our wonderful friend. Our wonderful friend. One who started so many things. She was, as people like to be called, a social butterfly. She would find people on the street and she would bring them home. She would feed them. She would treat them like family. And I think by doing so, she started a small revolution in all of our hearts with all of our names on them. I think Jessica had a little bit of magic to her. And I think a lot of us got a little piece of that magic left in us. It was her gift to us because she was so giving. She was so fearless to give at all times. Whether it was her last cigarette or whether it was maybe a jacket on a cold night. But we can also be selfish. She was a very, very selfish person with her friends. She wanted your love and nobody else got it but her. Because she deserved it. Because she would give so much of her love, she required it in return. And to see all of you now, here, spreading that love around, giving it away freely, showing people that there are still pieces of Jessica alive inside us today, waiting to come out, waiting to be seen, waiting to show the world what they can do. Because, man, did anybody here ever try to tell Jessica she couldn't do something? Huh?
Yeah. That wasn't happening.
I don't see anybody with balls that big here. Myself included.
Yeah, wait. You talk shit all the time.
Well, you had special access being her wife. I did not. I was at her mercy constantly, and it was a wonderful way to live.
I saw a judge do it.
Well, I certainly can't speak for any judge. But I know that I had a better life because I was under Jessica's wing. Socially, morally, in so many ways, she showed me what to do and what not to do, and let me make my own decisions, and then scolded me mercilessly for the decisions that I made. I think a wonderful transformation has happened. I think that some of us may have been caterpillars who may turn into social butterflies because of the little piece that we got from this wonderful person. I think also that sometimes a butterfly dreams they're a caterpillar, and sometimes a caterpillar dreams they're a butterfly. And all of us here, all of us have a right to spread that love far and wide, as much as we can, as often as we can. Taking in strays. I mean, how many dogs are here today? Look at this. You know? I had a friend pass recently in Florida, man, and he had 2 cats. And for some reason I thought about it, and I woke myself up and said, wait a second, we take strays. We don't deny people here. We don't tell them no. We give and we give and we give until we have nothing. Because that's who we are. Because that's where we came from. We came from those streets right down that hill. We patrolled those railroad tracks. We grew this town into something. However, now Now it is our time to decide what that something is. It's our time to figure out what we're going to do to put our face on the planet. Because this one, man, look at that. Look at that mark she left, man. Look at the people that she touched. Far and wide. We got people here from Florida. We got people here from Canada. We got people here from the furthest reaches of the earth, man. People who have been down so low that they never thought they'd see the light of day again. We've all been there, all of us. And it's so wonderful to see how far we have all come. All of us growing and living and becoming this beautiful thing. But I gotta tell you, for me, it started right there with her. It was 5th grade, and we were like walking around we were walking around the campus of our school for phys ed, and we struck up a conversation about a 9 Inch Nails patch on her backpack or something. And instantly, we were the best of friends. I think I went to I went to Budland later that day for the first time ever, and was invited in with open arms, offered a sandwich, and given a place on the couch. You all remember Sunday nights? Doesn't matter where you were on that couch watching Simpsons.
Yep.
We grew up that way. It was church. It was called church. And she was right there, man, like a high priestess. But I digress. What started back in the 5th grade of John Muir Elementary, right down that hill, I met one of the most single greatest influences in my life. I was never the same. Never. And every time I ran away from my mom, where did I go? I went to Budland. Every time I needed to get rid of the world and be around some love, where did I go? Budland. That's where love grew from. That's where I became a functioning member of a family, because my family wasn't functioning. I think you can all agree. We became the family we required because it was necessary. We needed to create what it was we needed because we weren't getting it. And right now, seeing all of you lovely people here today, letting all of you mourn this beautiful soul in your own ways, with your own words, and your own friends, and your own family, and your own kind. I can't think of any better way to honor our best friend, everyone here's best friend, Jessica Louise Mery. Let's have some applause. Now, I didn't get any other names on this speakers list up here, but I would really enjoy hearing somebody else's words, somebody else's stories. Yes, I've got them. Yes, they're terribly inappropriate for children. And yes, I have a really loud speaking voice. So no, I am not going to recant those tales up here. That would be terrible. It sure would be funny, though.
Yeah, I got one. They threw your clothes up on the roof.
Oh, yes, they go on. The list goes on of terribly inappropriate stories, especially ones concerning me.
Oh, yeah.
But what I would like is for anyone to come up here and say something, even if we all have to come in a little bit closer to hear you.
Can I say something?
Please.
Hi, my name's Samiko. I was on SFNet. I was Sky Vibe there. And I was a friend of Jessica's mother, Jane Budberry. When I first met Jessica, she was like 9 years old. I'm 50. I've known her for a long time. I can't believe she's gone. She was so young. When my niece turned 6, we had a birthday party for her, and my friend Scott Combs, his name was Split Personality, he's there. He was like 19 and we hired him to be a clown. He was supposed to do magic tricks, but he couldn't do them right. So all of these little like 6-year-old girls got the wiffle bat that they were supposed to be hitting the pinata with, and they started chasing him around, and Jessica had to like rescue him. I think she was 10 or 11. She had to rescue him by going there and grabbing the tricks and doing them for him because he couldn't figure it out. And she was a lot smarter than him already. So she did all the tricks really, really well. You know, she, was this little tubby kid, and the next time I saw her was at my friend X-Boy's funeral, and, she was 13, and she had already turned into a lovely young woman. I've seen her on and off over the years, and, you always have this feeling when that's your friend's kid that you should be looking out for them and doing more for them. You know what I mean? Because Jessica wanted to be as much like her mother as possible and following Jane's footsteps and invite everyone in and take care of everyone. And she needed some help herself. I tried to do what I could. So I bought a birthday cake over to her house when she turned 34, which wasn't very long ago. Do a surprise party, and her friend Zach that she's known for a long time is there, and her roommates. And I tried to get everybody to come down there, but everybody moved far away, and people weren't as close as they used to be. I wish that all of her friends that loved her had her here to speak with them today. That things could have been different somehow. And I feel like I let her down. And like there should have been something that I could have done to make things go differently than they did. Because I could see that she was sad. She had tried really, really, really hard. And when she did well, she did so well. She used to work for Needle Exchange. She had these like poetry readings and these fundraisers and these things that she did all the time to help other people that were in trouble and to help addicts. And she was always the first one to be there to help other people. Maybe she gave so much of herself to other people. That she didn't really have as much as she needed, and I guess, things could have been, I just wish things were easier for her somehow. I don't know what else to say. I loved her mom, and I loved her too, and they're both gone, way too early. But at least they have each other, so at least they're together again. But I'll sing a song because people should have something to sing at their funeral. See, what's a good song to sing for Jessica?
Blind.
Huh?
Something by Sublime.
Something by Sublime. I don't think Date Rape is the is the right song, is it? It
What I
maybe
got,
is.
maybe.
Mommy's little monster won't go to school. Mommy's little monster broke all the rules. Her eyes are a deeper blue. She likes her hair that color too. That's not Sublime, but that's probably Social Distortion is probably good enough, because I don't think I could come up with anything that I know by Sublime that would be anything like it. Anyway, I hope you guys will come up and speak, and share your memories of her. And I'm really, really touched that people are here she'll always be growing into me. Peace.
Someone else has a story. I know they do. Somebody's got a good story. One's gonna make us smile.
You remember me?
Who's stepping up first?
Come on, you guys.
I remember you.
I got one.
I know you do.
This is my little buddy. I'm sure he thinks this is all about him. Come here, boy. Oh, Jessica. Want to make you laugh. Jessica was being, let's just say, pushing her boundaries on growing into adulthood, and she was having a little problem on attending school. She didn't want to go. And Jane, good friend Jane, her mother, was having a hard time getting her there. So she didn't know what to do, and I said, I'll take care of that. So I went and got Jessica, complete shock, and took her by the hand, got her in the car, drove her to school, walked her by hand into the classroom, sat her down at the desk right in front of all the other students, the teacher, whipped out the phone, called Jane, said she's here. Boom. Walked out. It's like she never stopped, she continued to go into school there. She stopped doing, the little antics she was doing, and she straightened up. But it was so cute just to walk her in and put her down in the desk in front of everybody. Oh, that got her good. Yeah, she wasn't expecting that. So I always think about that when I laugh. I miss Jessica. She was a sweetheart. She was every bit her mother's daughter. She was an amazing, enlightening person. I remember when I first met her, she was out running around with friends, and I was hanging at her place with Jane, and I had a friend of mine, Elvie, and we were there visiting, saying hi, and I noticed some different little really cool bumper stickers, here and there and everywhere, and I was reading all the different stickers that Jane had. She said, "There's nothing, you ought to see Jessica's room." So she opens Jessica's bedroom door, and it's just like nothing but stickers, and just, oh man, it was
A tornado of shit.
it was, and a black light dream. It was really cool. So I ended up just kind of tripping out for a while, just sitting there staring at everything and reading all of it. I'm like, wow, there was a lot of insight into who Jessica was. I didn't, really know her. So it really gave me a lot to think about. I was like, she's pretty damn intelligent, this young girl that I'm just meeting. Buddy, get out here. Come on. I was always impressed with her. She was, she had a bit of leadership in her that she was nurturing and building up. Her mother, I think she got it from her. She was every bit the, we're going to go do this and we're going to do that, and that was her mother too. So I saw a lot of that, in the both of them, and sadly they're both together now, and it's a nice day to get everybody together. I just wish it was for a better reason. Thank you everybody for coming out, and man, I don't know what else to say, but I'm going to miss her. So, come on, buddy, before I talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Mike. I remember once how fearless Jess was, and how much Jess sometimes didn't care what you cared about. We just gotten done picking her up from having her wisdom teeth removed, and this is a real short one. She says, "I hope you don't mind blood," and proceeds to spit out these giant bloody gauzes from inside of her mouth. It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever saw, but she just didn't care. She was just happy to be who she was. Come on, somebody else has got a story, man.
I got one.
Feel free to introduce yourself, man.
I'm Josh. Pleasure to meet you. I've known Jess since she was, God, I can't even remember. The first time I met her, we were at a party, me and my best friend Wes. It was boring as hell. She kind of broke out a bag of weed and said, "Hey, you guys want to go smoke?" From that point on, we kind of just followed her. She was a light. She shone brightly, and you were drawn to her. You wanted to be more like her. You wanted to be like her and Jane because they were selfless. They didn't think about themselves when they did what they did. They went out of their way to make sure that you felt welcome. They were some of the most amazing people I ever met in my life, and the fact that their light is gone is a tragic thing. But I see it all in you, because we all are sitting here because of her. Because this amazing person touched our lives. She did something that none of us could ever do. None of us would be here if it wasn't for her. And I thank you all for honoring her memory, and I just wanted to share a little bit of that. I'm not good at this, so I'm going to go sit down now, but thank you. I appreciate every one of you.
My name's Dave. Guess I just want to offer my own little perspective on Jess and her mom. A lot of people have said this, they were totally selfless. I was one of a group of ne'er-do-well fuck-ups who would show up at Jane's house and torment the grommets, and Jess was, Jane Bud Fairy's kid. I knew her as Gromit, on SFNet. We hung out, we did stupid shit together. I remember hanging out in her room one time, taking LSD and licking each other's eyeballs.
I remember that.
And that's like the kids are here story. But fuck. Like I don't even know what to say. I saw her and Zach at a KMFDM concert. I was 5 years clean, and they said they were clean. And I thought, fuck, they're gonna be okay. I've been clean for a long time. I don't want to make this about me, but I'm just saying. It's a fucked up disease. And when I say that, I mean it's a dis-ease. A lot of people who are like me, we're spiritual seekers. We seek each other out. We build our own families. And we try to deal with all this shit in our heads. And this is what I saw out of like the dysfunction, out of the chaos, right? People's lives, whatever the fuck they were dealing with, kids, adults, whatever. They all came together, fucking Budland, and hung out and fucking watched The Simpsons. I could talk to you exclusively in Simpsons quotes, and you would know what the fuck I was talking about.
Living in Florida is difficult for me because I talk in Simpsons quotes.
So if everybody remembers the intervention for Bart, where they're all sitting around on the couch, Krusty the Clown pulls out a glass and starts smoking moon rocks. And he says, "This just gets me to normal." I'm so there. Please cut me off if I start rambling.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try to. So yeah, the last time I saw Jess, she was helping me out at my house. New family. My wife. She didn't know my wife. been married for 10 years. My wife didn't know any of this fucking insanity. She met me like the tail edge. And, you know, she was coming over, helping us out with the house, cleaning up and stuff. I drove her back down from Humboldt. Now I wish I hadn't. And, you know, I really didn't know what was going on. Other people were more involved. And I wish I could have done something. I mean, the fucked up thing about the disease is you have to be ready. You have to be ready because it sneaks up on you. But the last thing I heard was she was happy that day. She was having a good time. It still came back to that shit. But yeah, you know, she went back to school. She didn't go to be, you know, a fucking lawyer or a banker or a doctor. She went back to do fucking social work. You know, she's fucking homeless and going to school. 3.7, right? GPA. And she's not going to be making money doing this shit. That doesn't matter. What matters is she's helping other people. So, before I get all fucked up, that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing for me to remember. Is, as was said before, she was her mother's daughter. You know, it didn't matter. If somebody needed help, they were fucking helping you out. So, I'm just glad that I was a part of that. And I think the best thing that I can do to honor her memory is to be like she was. And when I see somebody who needs help, some weird fucked up kid, you know, with dyed hair and crazy clothes, doesn't look like any other kids, put a hand out and say, you know, hey, I've been there. There's friends out there for you. If you don't find them, we'll find you.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
You know, that sounds borderline creepy, guys.
Then I guess I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Shitty.
Wonderful, beautiful. We'd expect nothing less, right? We're all sad today. My name's Tim. You know, I came to know Jess about 12, 13 years ago. I was basically invited, you know, to sit down, come into the family that we had created. You know, I was 21 years old, my wife, and I got given that opportunity. I had never thought about it. It was something, you know, I sat with Jess, I'll never forget it. And sitting in the lobby down on A Street, or Foothill, wherever the fuck it was, 22550, I remember that. Yep. Sitting next to her in the lobby, and she looks at me and says, look, do you want to be a part of something? Or do you just want to go on with what you're doing? You hate it? Or do you want to come with us and be a part of something? We're a family. We're doing something that people dreamed about 20 years ago. And, you know, together, you know, it was a short run, and I wasn't there long. Most important part of my life. I have friends here now that I never would have had because of that. But it was that phrase. She said, do you want to be a part of something? And, you know, I emphasize that, you know, fast forward, last time I saw Jess, March of last year, 10 months ago. I was working in Hayward. I was in the area. We've been trying to get together. I could show you the stream on Facebook. We spent 3 weeks trying to connect, getting together. But she wouldn't take it. She said, look, we're going to do this. I don't care when, I don't care where. She said, I'll be there at 6 in the morning. You know, that's when you guys start, that's when you open. But it's the only way. So we finally made it happen. And we went out, we had lunch. As we're finishing up, I didn't think any of it. She was like, can I take that with you? I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, she was like, you didn't eat your rice. I was on a diet. I didn't eat carbs for 8 months. Stupid, whatever. And she's like, can I have it? I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, if you want to get another one, like I'll order it for you, no problem. She's like, yeah, so would you do that? And I was like, yeah, and I hadn't picked up on anything. And I asked, what's it for? And she says, I'm taking it back to my friends. And she took 3 meals. I bought 3 more meals I gave them. She took them back to people that she knew, someone she could walk by on the street, someone she could walk into her house. And she had nothing. She had, very little at that time. We made it happen. We got out. But when she asked for something, it wasn't for her. Nothing she had in her life was hers. It was all out on the table for anybody. Kind word, an open ear. I don't know anyone that listened like Jess did. I could tell you, you could just keep talking. She'd interject, she'd be there, but you never wanted to stop. Everything that you said, you could say the stupidest shit, she took it to heart and she listened to it. And she never would walk away. You could be there till 2 in the morning, you'd be there till the next day. You could fall asleep in mid-conversation, she still had her ears open. She was always there. So I'll keep it short, but I do want to say one thing, and that as we leave here today, I hope I hear 100 more stories. I know we've all got something to say. I know some of us don't speak well in front of people. I know some of us aren't able to do that. But if you can't say it here, go tell someone when you leave here. Tell them something and keep that spirit alive. Make sure you tell the world for the rest of your life what she meant to you, the things she did for you, and what you took from her. Because I'm a different person because of it. I can tell you that I've learned to open up my heart to people I would never consider, to never shut my door, to always leave it unlocked if someone wants to come stay. And it doesn't matter, there's 32 people on the floor, why not 34? It doesn't matter. So I ask everyone, I hope I hear a lot more from people, but please tell these stories, tell your stories, and make sure that we live, and make sure we keep those stories alive, and use them to help other people. Thank you, guys.
Somebody else? Bueller? Bueller?
Yeah, one more.
One more. Now getting it ready. Now getting it ready for you.
Alright. My name is Paul. I was the manager of Hayward Patients Resource Center.
Whoop, whoop.
Jane was a really good friend of mine. Her death hit me really hard. First time I met Jessica was in Dennis Perone's club. I'm like, what is the kid doing in here? Well, Jane, being the person that she was, did not like to hear the word no. But I can always do something else. And I think Jessica learned a lot of that side skirting from her mom. I've seen times where Jane has leaned over to Jessica and say, hey, break some tears. All of a sudden the waterworks comes on and they're getting what they want, and I'm like, what the fuck? But that was Jane and Jessica. That was a team that I have never seen before in life. And Jessica got a lot of her mom's ways, She was a leader, she was outspoken, and you'd say your mind when she damn well felt like it. I acquired some of that. I don't think there's a filter on my mouth anymore, and either that or my filter got broken and it's irreplaceable. But,
I should know, I've been married to you 15 years.
yeah, I know. Anyway, so I think the last time I talked to Jessica is when she had found in her mom's stuff some t-shirts from San Francisco Patients Resource Center. And she said, "You're the first one I thought of when I found these shirts. Do you want a couple of them?" At that point, all my cannabis memorabilia was locked up in a storage locker and I couldn't get at it, and I said, "Hell yes." Well, since then my wife acquired cancer and I had to dump the storage locker because I needed to pay for other stuff. But as far as that open hearts and building a family, I pretty much took on all of that quite well in my family now. Jessica was a good person. I really didn't know her that well. When we were in San Francisco Patients Resource Center, she would come in with Zoe and didn't realize who she was, and I was hitting on her. And then Jane said, "Hey, that's my daughter," and I'm like, "Whoops, my bad." But Jessica was a really good woman. She turned out to be a driving force in this world. And she went out too young. She should have been around a lot longer. But she's with her mom now and out of pain. That's all I can say.
Please, please.
I don't want to be up here alone. But Jordan. My name is Jessica. Jessica used to watch me when I was younger, and I've been trying to think about how to phrase that, right? Watch me. She watched over me. She raised me. In my life, there's been a lot of sorrow. There's been a lot of pain. I've always wondered where I belonged, really. I moved around so much. But even when she wasn't physically there, I had her. I had her. I had her spirit. I had her strength. She used to help me with my homework when I was very young, 7 or 8 maybe. And she said to me once, I'll never forget it, she said, "No, you have to do it like this." And I said, "Why?" "I don't want to show my work, I can do it in my head." And she said, "You have to get your education. It's the one thing they can never take away from you." And I didn't get it. I didn't get it, and I spent the next decade or so thinking about it. I ended up homeless when I was a kid, and I remember thinking about it. And I thought, I have to go to school. I have to go to college. That's what she did. That's what she would want. I had a 3.4. I was homeless. I got an AA through my community college, and I found my way down here. The last time I talked with her, spoke with her, heard her voice on the phone, I reconnected with her. And I was so scared because I didn't know. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. She hadn't heard from me since I was a baby. And she said, if you ever need anything, anything at all, you get a hold of me. I chop my arm off for you, kid. You're my sister. You're the closest thing to a daughter I ever had. I wanted to think of a word to describe her in my life. And I thought angel, but that's a little too much, you know. Because as we all know, she was no angel. She was put here on earth for each and every one of us. I'm so honored to have known her. I'm so honored that she touched my life. I'm so honored to be part of this family here, and this family with all of you. I believe that God takes us when our time is done. I know, half of you are like, whatever, kid, but that's what I believe through my life, that when our work here is done, that we go. And I want her here just as much as all of you. But I'm happy she's gone because she's not in pain anymore. She's up there with Jane now. She's up there with her dogs and with her cats. And with every single person that she loved and she helped that passed on. And we're here now. And we're still here. And if there's anything that we can do, it's be kind. It's to make every day a little kinder, like she would have wanted. There have been days in the past month I haven't wanted to get out of bed. And I thought, no, I gotta get up. That's what she'd want. She'd want me to get up. She'd want me to go out there and kick some ass and help some people. And life's a little better now. And you know, I found that word. She was my hero. Thanks for your time, everybody.
Anybody else want to talk? Yeah?
I'm Bill Panzer. I didn't know Jessica as well as many of you have spoken today obviously did, but my wife and I were very close with her mom, and so if you were close with Jane, you were hung out with Jessica too. Jane was a very unique, special person, those of you who knew her. You know, my wife first was introduced to her when I was doing a big trial up in Santa Rosa, Ken Hayes' case for one of the biggest early 215 trials. And Jane came to the trial every day for 7 weeks in her nun's habit. Which, you know, the jury saw the nun liked the defense, you know, so that certainly helped. But just hearing all of you talk today, you know, I had to get up here and tell you, you know, like I said, I didn't know Jessica as well as many of you did. I mean, she'd check in with me every 2 or 3 years, and the last few times, she was really proud to tell me how well she was doing in school, and that was really nice to hear, and I knew her mom would really be happy for that. But I can tell you this, like I said, I knew Jane quite well, and right now Jane is up there with a big fatty in her hand, smiling, hearing what all of you have had to say about Jessica today. And thanks for coming down.
Tell me something good. Other than the sound of your knees popping.
Feels better than when they don't pop.
Like a lot of you, everybody, Jordan here, I'm not much to look at, but I have more heart than I let on, I guess. I'm another one of those dumbass losers that was out there doing dumb shit and screwing around, and I think recently getting arrested for beating up a cop and then being in prison for a little bit and then coming out and going, well, I can't go to work. Nobody wants me at work because I have a felony. And well, I don't remember. I think it was through Jordan and through Daniel and through the rest of our Hey Weirdians. Started hanging out with Jessica. We were all punkers. And she said, well, Doug, you don't have a job. Their ass is mine. You're going to come work for me. I was like, oh, okay. Well, what do we do? I don't think I had a car. Either I had a car and I didn't have a license because they had taken my license away. For some reason I wasn't supposed to be driving. Basically, I was a bad boy. And she came and got me in a van, a bike ferry van. And I'm a licensed race car driver. I'm licensed to drive on any track, anywhere, internationally. And I'm a licensed tech inspector now, amongst other things, where I've just been like, more education, please. That was another thing you got from that one. You're like, holy smokes, you're doing what now? You just take this class? You have another degree, or you're in class again? Well, hell, I mean, you're doing what? Oh, well, I guess I don't have an excuse. I better get off my ass. Lots of motivation. You just drew lots of motivation from it. Anyways, I ended up getting hired on and working with the rest of y'all at the club for a fair amount of years. I'm not sure if I had my memory is very fuzzy because of the motorcycle accident. So that time period is splotch. Somewhere in there was an accident involving my arm being reattached and being in a sling. And you would think I would have not been able to come into work, but somehow between the rest of our family at that point, I hobbled my way through that. Yeah, basically I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for her and y'all. I'd probably be either in a gutter, dead from a motorcycle accident, or somebody would have hit me with a bat or a chain or some other misnomer or evil would have befell me. Yeah, so. And then the last time I talked to her, she was finishing school. And then I can't remember what else. I feel horrible, man. Like you try to do what you can, and we try to see everybody. Everybody's so busy doing what we should be doing. We're living our lives. We're being adults. I don't know, getting shit done, We're going to school, we're working. You only hear from people every now and then when you do, you're like, okay, like, you know how we are, Jordan. If I called you from Florida and said, Jordan, I need you to come down here and help me, you'd feel like, what do you need? I'll be there.
Where am I?
Yeah. So, God bless you guys. I wish it was better situations I was seeing your faces in, but it's nice to see all of you. She would have wanted us to party. Her life was pretty much a celebration of life and education and helping everybody out. I myself feel like this a lot of times because I've almost died a handful of times, and sometimes this star that burns twice as bright only burns for half as long. So, just as long as you're still burning, fucking go out and do it. And like try not to burn out in the process. So I don't have any more to say other than that. Thanks, guys.
Dog, everyone.
Zephyr. I met Jess when she was very young, a child, and I guess yeah, I met Jane and Jess, and it turned out that Jane had known my dad, and so instantly they were like, oh, "Okay, you're cool. You can be with us." And I thought that was like, "Oh, I'm special." And then, you know, the more time I spent around them, I realized that, like, oh wait, that's a really, like, they, you know, treat everyone like that, and it was powerful to know that. Of just like named her cat after me at one point. Little Joe Cup kitty, and you know, anytime after that, I'd be hanging out at someone's house, and then like they'd say, "Oh, I think Jess is coming over," and just everyone would just have that same like, "Oh, Jess, oh, I love her, I can't wait to see her." And I could see that in like that sense she put out of just, you know, being really cool and solid for everyone, no matter how much drama and craziness there was, and that really it spread out. And I felt like anyone who was cool with Jess was cool with me. So I haven't seen her in a while. Sort of interacted a little bit on the fucking computer, but yeah, I mean, I guess we're all feeling the same way, and yeah, I love you, Jess.
You know it's gonna come out anyway. Sooner or later. Sooner or later. You're gonna look at one of these pictures, and you're gonna remember that moment. That moment. Like when Josh spoke earlier, I do remember the day that I met Josh in Jessica's backyard, tilling the soil so that we could stomp it all down and put down AstroTurf, because screw all the rest of that stuff. And you and Wesley and Nick Samaglio and Mike Fleming showed up, and it was the first time I met you four gentlemen. I don't know why, man. She and I, once we combined powers, we always ended up hanging out with people who were just a little bit older, just a little bit weirder, just a little bit more, just a little bit extra. Just a little bit more than regular, more than usual. And every time I look at these pictures, man, there's another memory. There's another memory. There's a face. There's a phrase that comes to mind, or something. And those beautiful little gems, man, I've had them locked away in these pictures for years. Years I've had them locked away. And busting them out now, man. I found our junior high yearbook last night. Oh my God, we were so cruel, man. We corrupted so many of those junior high students. It was, I'm not sure it's something to be proud of. But each one came with a memory. And she was so methodical, she actually knew to write down people's names when they didn't have them written underneath the picture, so that she could remember who was who. Which person she had corrupted which time. I swear we got to all of them by the time we hit high school, man, and we just had this little legion of people, and then there were the different tiers, you know. You had the elder group, you had the younger group, you had the side groups, or the green truck gang, or you had the there were all the different factions of people who hung out, what they called themselves, whether it was grommets, whether it was acolytes, whether it was sobriety repair, you know, no matter what it was.
Right here.
You were part of it.
Hello.
You were part of it.
Sobriety repair.
And all those memories are locked away You guys got some of them, man. I want to hear them bust it out. Because I've only got mine, and mine are fading fast, you guys. I got into this beer thing a while ago. Now I make beer for a living. I don't remember much these days. It's really sad. It's really sad. This is why I was so... Picture time is my favorite time of day, man. When I have a chance to bust out the pictures and show somebody a little piece of history, a little piece of that moment that we got to share. Nobody else was a part of. And it came with a little story. It had maybe a punchline. I know you've all got them. I know they're all in there. Please, please.
What you said about Emily, what you said about the drinking groups and everything, you know, she definitely bridged the gap between a lot of people and a lot of different age groups, and I knew a lot of people through high school and never really hanged out with all of you guys, but afterwards after all the pot club and after all the bad feelings and good feelings go, you know, she was still there. I remember her when she held my son for the first time, Hunter. I still have that picture in my head. I wish I could get out of storage to bring it.
It's down there. I think I saw it in the box.
Thank you. She definitely bridged the gap, and I really liked that about her, and she was always a wonderful person to me. I can't remember how many times that I went to her and talked, and I always felt a lot better afterwards. She's definitely going to be missed, and I'm glad I know her, and I'm glad I know everybody that she had a part of my life. That was it.
Things we failed to mention. I also forgot to mention that Jess made jewelry for a long time at some point, and there are a million pieces of jewelry in there, and I know for a fact she'd want everybody to have at least one piece of something. Plus, poor Zoe over here is going to keep all of it if you guys don't take some.
Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna be burned or in my storage, so take it.
If I didn't mention it earlier or I wasn't loud enough, there's been of pictures which have all been scanned, and if you want access to it, you have to ask one of us, either Zoe or I, so that we can make sure you have access to this Shutterfly thing, which I can't really understand because it's part of the cloud or something. I don't know. I'm not tech savvy. Interwebs. Wait, interwebs. That's the stuff on the inside of your swim trunks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe yours, buddy.
Please.
Take pictures of yourself.
Please take some of these physical pictures home with you, especially if you're in them, because I know how that holds a special place in my heart. When I find pictures I don't remember being taken of me, and they are embarrassing, ladies and gentlemen. They are embarrassing. I tried to put slits in my eyebrows at one point. It was awful. It was awful. I looked hideous. But you know what? I love that picture. I love it. I love that it exists. Especially if I'm doing like a half sneeze face and I look like I just smelled some bad cheese. That picture exists for a reason. And if somebody else takes it, I won't be mad. But please, take some pictures, take some jewelry. I mean, we're not trying to, we're not trying to dishonor or disrespect anyone, but we do want to give everybody a chance to have something. Something, your little thing. The thing that makes you remember that memory, that moment.
Every time I have to teach somebody how to take a corner and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, you decelerate into the turn.
I remember being in Jessica's van and already being like, yeah, I drove
Braced
fast.
for impact.
And in the van like, God, what are we on 3 wheels for? Like coming through campus.
Entertainment.
Mama raised the Hellraiser. Come on, somebody else has got something to say. Come down here and say it. I know you do. Don't make me find you. I'll just sit up here and keep talking. You guys are gonna have to listen to my voice and see my ugly mug unless one of you got something. Yeah, with slits cut in my eyes. Yeah, I told you. Yeah. I was high on drugs is what I was, man. There's no other explanation for it. There's no reason. There's no rhyme. Please, please.
Hi everybody. Some of you guys know me as Kate. Some of you guys know me as Kanta. I'm actually gonna sit down while I talk. So when I was in middle school, I was fascinated with Tiffany. I don't know where she is.
It's right behind you.
Right there. Okay. And me and Tiffany, I don't even know how we met. Tiffany, do you remember how we met?
I think Bret Hart.
Yeah, Bret Hart. I just remember this like green-haired girl and be like, that's the one. That's the one. I need to be with her. So when I was in middle school, me and Tiffany, I don't know how we got each other's number. We would just talk all the time on the phone. Maybe like saw her like twice in my life, but we would talk all the time until really late at night. My brother would be on the phone making weird sounds. You remember that?
Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Tiffany.
shut the fuck up, Koshka, like all the time. And I also remember being at Bret Hart and being friends with Zach. So I remember times where Tiffany and Zach would have a plan. I felt like everyone was in. I also thought Zoe was in on it, and they're like, we're gonna get Kate and we're gonna take her over to Jess's house. So one day I was leaving Bret Hart, and I think Tiffany swooped me up. We start walking down the street, and I was telling them, I was like, yeah, I smoked weed before, I did it, you know, like. So they're like, all right, cool, you know, we're gonna smoke some weed. So I walked with them, like, hell yeah, I've done this, I know what I'm doing. Get to Jess's house, and I don't even know Jess, and she just kind of looks at me like, acceptable. Welcome in. You're in the group. So they pack me a bong load. I take this long rip, and I was like, huh, doesn't taste like the Bammer weed I'm used to. I exhale it, and I just remember being like, fuck, what did I do? And then for the next probably 5 hours, I was stuck on her couch watching Simpsons. And just these little images of Tiffany being like, do you want to go outside and smoke a cigarette? And I was just like, no, no, no. And I just remember Jess constantly looking at me and being like, you're part of us, you're one of us.
You're stuck here now.
You're stuck forever now.
Yeah. That was a favorite phrase that issued often.
I also
You're not
thought it was
going
cute.
anywhere.
Tell me the real reason, Tiffany. No, you.
I also remember one time me, and I think it was Heather, met up with Tiffany and Zoe at Hayward High and Shane. And we were walking to Jess's house, and Zoe saw a t-shirt, and she's like, ah, I ripped the t-shirt apart. I'm throwing out all the memories.
Go for it.
Going to Jess's house. And I remember also losing some contact. I was always close to Tiffany, but not with everyone. And every time something like this happens, I always remember that in Hayward, we're all a family. Whether you be like the Green Truck gang, the Westies, I don't know what we were called, Downtownians, I don't know. Like, we're all like a family. And the one thing I really remember about Jess later on, when our groups kind of all mixed together, was I remember her laugh, and Tim actually posted about it, and it just, like, even now, I just hear her laugh. She would say one line, like, joke, and her laugh was just so mellow and just contagious. And I guess what I really want to say to everyone, people I've seen, haven't seen, is that I love you guys, and I hope to see more of you. And I'm gonna miss Jess. And that's it.
We love you too, Kasha. Speaking of clicks, speaking of crews, I got a good one. Living on Thomas was rough because we were 1 block away from Ramos. And Ramos didn't have adequate representation in the punk rock area. So the Ramos Rockers were formed. Plus, we were smoking weed with all of those gangbangers. They were all coming over to my house after school. I would pretend my mom came home and try and chase all 20 of them out of the house. Find one getting high in the bathroom, have to chase him out. And one day we were all sitting around Jessica's house, and we decided that a good old-fashioned water balloon fight had been way too long in the making. So we ended up having a water balloon fight between the Ramos Rockers and Ramos. It was great. It was wonderful. Like there was no killing in the hood that night, you know? I mean, okay, what's his name's window got broken, somebody threw a 40 at somebody's head, but nobody died. Nobody died. I mean, yes, we did discuss putting BBs in the water balloons before we filled them, but nobody died. And I remember
you threw the balloon that broke the window.
Shut up! That's not true, and you can't prove it. I know the law.
Like, isn't there something about not mentioning stuff?
What I remember specifically was the feeling after unloading from behind a small gateway on the opposite side of the street from Budland on Thomas. I had completely unloaded my recycle bucket of water balloons, just as many as I could huck, and I was left with a giant bucket full of water. And I'm like, oh, I know what to do with this. So I run out there and I see the biggest, baddest, meanest leader of the Ramos clan, and I just douse him in this water, expecting to get trounced immediately. And he looked at me and we laughed. And we laughed. And I was declared the winner! But man, that night where everybody got along, you know, no matter who you were, we all smoked weed at the end. We all got together and shared a joint, or a blunt, or a bong, or a pipe. It was the universal solvent of our lives. You guys want to keep hearing me talk? You got somewhere to be? Come on.
And I kissed the car and he threw firecrackers behind us.
Oh yeah, the firecrackers. Yeah, thanks, jackass.
That guy's got stories.
Yeah, I know, he's hollering from over there. Come on, Josh, you got some more?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Yeah.
I never do good in front of people. I'm better behind them.
Telling you guys, come down and have picture time with us. A lot of you are in there, whether you think you are or not.
Oh yeah,
A lot of you were in there. She was meticulous about keeping this stuff. More Jess stories. More Jess stories. I remember. No, I don't. What else don't I remember?
She got the flu from your dude taking off your boots.
Oh no, don't tell that story. That's a gross story. So being a scum punk kid like I was, I fell in love with this pair of boots, man. It was a pair of 28 eye talks that I got from Wesley. Where'd he go? There he is. I got from Wesley. They had a really poorly drawn whiteout Bauhaus symbol on one and Christian Death on the other. But they were both like on the same side, weren't they? So it wasn't on the outside of the boots, it was on the inside of one and the outside of the other. That was great planning there, Wes. I loved those boots, man. They had a whole dome of duct tape on them afterwards because they would just start talking to you. And at one point, I was probably high on drugs. I hadn't taken them off for 30 days. 30 days I wore knee-high 28 eyelet Doc Martens with very poorly drawn whiteout stuff on them. And I think it was at this point we decided it was way cooler to pitch a tent in her backyard than to hang out in the house and get yelled at by her mom. However, to go in the tent, you couldn't wear shoes, right? You can't wear shoes in the tent, you're gonna ruin the tent. So I took off these boots after 30 days of wearing them. And I can't remember if I had to scrape the brown things that have grown onto my toenails that night or the next day, because I don't think I could see at that point. It was dark, I was probably on drugs. And Jessica got violently ill from the smell of my feet after brewing in those shoes for 30 days. Violently ill. She, like, it wasn't a split second later before you started. Oh, hold on. Hoop. Like, it just immediately, man, when they came off. That poor girl. For like 24 hours, she just did not feel okay anymore. That is a gross story, my friends. And it is very embarrassing, but I'll tell it again.
I'm so happy I know you better now.
I haven't gotten any cleaner. What else? What else? What else? There's another one. Come on. Rainy day skipping school? No. Frozen space bag on a hot black car? Hold on. Hold on. We're getting somewhere.
Nah, trips to San Francisco in the Cowmobile.
Trips to San Francisco in the Cowmobile. All right. Anybody who is unaware of what the Cowmobile might have been, it was a Saab that Jane had purchased for $1 in San Francisco because it had no reverse. However, Jane, being the genius that she is, she said, "What do you need reverse for in the city? It's all hills. It's all hills." Yeah, parallel parking. Yeah, she did that too, without reverse. She throw it in neutral, slide on it. Relentlessly.
To get it out of the driveway, she had the kids push her out.
Yep. We'd push her out of the driveway in the cow car. This car was littered with stuffed cows. Everywhere, man. They were beautiful. I think we have several pictures of those cows drinking beer in this case back here. I remember going to San Francisco and buying my first batch of bunk LSD, trying to force a trip on the way home in the Saab car. Trips to San Francisco. They always ended the same way. Bad drugs. Bad drugs. Come on, what else? What else? There's more stories out there. Never. I don't learn my lessons, man. You want to say something?
Okay.
Come on, you're up here.
Just to save you guys
You're
from
up here.
him
Hey.
for 5 minutes. My name's Troy. I really was racking my brain hard for a story about Jessica, or I could come up with something that she said. But probably the longest time I spent with Jessica,
Stream hippie out the car window at me.
I spent talking about my stuff, my bullshit. And like a good friend, she just bore witness and listened. I think we came over to the house on Thomas. We came down there, and I was really excited to see Snickers, which I'm really excited to see her again today, because that's how I met Jessica. And so I had made something for Snickers or whatever, some tape or something like that, right? And she didn't like it because she said there was too much like White Zombie or something on it. And I said I didn't put any White Zombie on it. So the whole time you've been listening to this different tape, you think I made you. I really made you this. Where is it? And we like searched through the room. I think we might have found it, but I ended up saying something mean to Snickers that I didn't mean. And so I wasn't going to talk to Snickers that night anymore, and we ended up walking around Hayward, and I just talked to Jessica, and that's what I remembered. Not anything she said, but that she listened to everything I said that I, for the life of me, completely forgot. I guess I hope none of you out there are really feeling the pangs of regret, because when I last talked to Jessica on the phone, texting, she lived off of San Pablo Avenue, which is where I work, and I didn't know she lived there. She was talking about something going down on the street, and I thought, like, well, I haven't seen Jessica in a long time, but whatever's going on, I'll rush down there and help. But by the time I got off work, it was all over with. And then I thought, well, okay, I don't have an excuse to go find Jessica. I don't have, the horse is ready, the armor's ready, the lance is ready, but now there's no danger threatening, so I don't need to go down there. I don't need to give her a big hug, smoke with her, tell her I was proud of her, and that I'm around. I'm right up the street, hit me up anytime. And after all this happened, I realized I didn't need an excuse. I could have just went. And probably some of you, passed up an opportunity to see someone who's now passed And so I guess rather than feel the regret, because I'm feeling I'm trying not to, but I'm feeling it, and some of you folks probably feel it too. So the teachable moment from that is to just, you don't need an excuse. If you love somebody, if you like somebody strongly, go tell them. Go tell them, drop in on them. If anybody's got anything to say to me, I don't care where I run into you.
We're going to talk later about that tape.
Please come. Yeah. I'm really happy to see you all. I canceled some plans to be here, and I'm going to be around all night. And if anybody needs anything out of me, I'll make myself available. Now I can turn you back over to Jordan, because now I'm feeling a little sniffly. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy.